Hello everyone and welcome to the Albion Obsessed podcast, episode 2. We are back after a rather disappointing result, but we'll get onto that in a little bit. Toby, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing all right in myself, but no, I'm not doing all right with the Albion. It was quite poor yesterday, but I'm sure we'll get onto that. How are you doing?
Yeah, as you say, not too bad in myself, but yeah, just a bit disappointed really. Yeah, not much to say until we get into it, but yeah, let's just get straight
let's
into
get
it.
into it. Yeah, let's get
Let's
into
just
it.
get straight into it. To be honest, it's a bit lackluster, wasn't it, mate? Really?
Yeah, it was. It was pretty toothless from us, really. I don't want to go as far as to absolutely berate the team, but attacking wise, we just had nothing. And I think what worries me most is that last season we would attack, we'd have opportunities, we'd have chances, but we wouldn't take those chances. Whereas the only thing is with yesterday's game is I can't think of a notable chance at all other than a few shots from the edge of the box. So for me, it's a little bit scary that we're not creating the same chances we did last year.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially like I said last podcast, I said Everton is going to be a really different test. It was, and unfortunately, we failed that test. So as you say, we didn't create as many chances as we normally do. We didn't really look to threaten. I think it's all down to the wing back situation, to be honest. But I've got a lot more to say about that in my player ratings, to be honest. And obviously we'll touch on any transfer news that may or may not be happening. So yeah, we didn't really have the attacking outlet. Trossard and McAllister looked a little bit off it. And Malpay, I felt sorry for him, to be honest, because he's been in really good form at the start of the season. We thought, okay, yeah, this really could be the season he lights it up. Maybe we don't need a striker, but now I'm thinking something different. Maybe we need a different option because when Welbeck come on, it looked to be exactly the same. But as I say, I'll get into that in my player ratings. Something a little bit more positive earlier in the week, though, Toby. Our youngsters went to Cardiff and came away with the ball in the hat for the next round against Swansea. So, what did you make of our youngsters?
Well, I thought you were about to say 3 points. Then no,
I wasn't going to do an Ashley Barnes.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a really professional performance from the youngsters, and I think it shows that we've got people that are challenging for the first team. I've seen on Twitter in the build-up to the Everton game, people are a bit upset that we're letting a lot of our players go there, and we don't have enough squad depth. But I'd argue that performance from the youngsters or from the backups, really professional. I was really, really happy with what I saw. Zakiri looked energetic. I thought, he's the sort of player that I'd be looking to as a backup to Morpay over Connolly personally. But yeah, I'm really excited by what I saw, and I know that we're in good hands for the rest of the season, especially for squad rotation. Obviously, I would like a few transfers, and we'll get on to that. But it's not too bad as it is.
Yeah, a good few positions to fill, as we say, with transfers, which hopefully happen. As well, there's been a lot of movement with our youngsters going out on loan, which, to be honest, I feel like they deserve. They deserve to go out to the championship level, or maybe a little bit lower if they're not quite there yet. But to be honest, as they've shown against Cardiff, they can play at championship level, and they deserve to be playing all the time. We saw with Ben White, that's how he developed. And look at Ostergaard as well. He's gone out on his second loan to the Championship, and hopefully he comes back a 50 million player like Ben White does. But it's really, really promising stuff. And there's a few notable sort of performances I just wanted to pick out. Toby, Tasongi at centre back, I thought looked really, really comfortable, really physical. Looks to be really exciting. I think he's only just come up from the under-18s into the under-23s. correct me if I'm wrong, Twitter. I'm sure you will. But yeah, he looks really promising. And Richards as well. Obviously, he got his Premier League debut yesterday. We're recording this on the Sunday after the Everton game, so he got his Premier League debut yesterday. Didn't look out of place. Were you impressed by him yesterday?
I wouldn't say impressed. He's still got a long way to go, and I'm not gonna sit here and berate him or slate him for his performance. But it felt like he could have been more imaginative with the ball, and a lot of the time it looked like he was trying for the easy pass. But it's your Premier League debut; you're not going to want to make a mistake in front of the fans, and I can completely understand that. I was just a bit disappointed because I thought that there was a few times where he could have taken on his man or played a riskier pass, but chose to go backwards or sideways instead. But I guess it's, again, Premier League debut and what the coach has told him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And as well, the highest level he's played at before playing yesterday was obviously League One with Doncaster. Is that right? He was on loan at Doncaster last year.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I believe that's probably the top that he's played. I don't think he's played in the Championship or anything beforehand.
No, and then obviously, he looked really decent against Cardiff, so that's another step up for him. And we know what Potter's like. He puts a lot of faith in youth. And yesterday, yes, it was a really disappointing performance from everyone, in my opinion. But he didn't look out of place. I think that's the most I can say for him, is that he didn't look out of place, which is good, because if our first team are doing really well and he comes on in a game that we're pushing, maybe for a third or fourth goal, then maybe he's got more sort of options to exploit, more space to exploit. But yeah, Everton were really compact and dealt with us really well. Really, really exciting stuff in the League Cup. Hopefully, a lot of our youngsters as well get a run out against Swansea in the next round. But yeah, that's the positive. We'll move on to the negative, Toby. Everton at home.
It was a rough game, wasn't it? I mean, I'll pick out the good parts first, because I think that there were elements that were good about that game. For me, Robert Sanchez was on fire. The Damari Gray finish, really good finish. I don't think you're saving that, and a penalty is a penalty. But other than that, he looked really commanding in the box, something I never saw Matt Ryan do. He'd come out, grab the corners. I think it must have been 2-3 times that he came out to grab the cross. I thought he had a few good saves, and I just think that Robert Sanchez, hats off to you, because you were my man of the match for that game, personally.
Fair play. To be honest, I've got him as our second highest rated player in my player ratings. I feel like if it wasn't for him, that Everton could have beaten us 4-5-0. If we had a keeper that was less commanding, as you say, he looked really strong. I didn't even think the centre backs were overly terrible yesterday. They weren't maybe as strong as they could have been for the Gray goal, but as you say, he took it really well. But other than that, didn't really make any mistakes. The only mistake that I felt was Veltman when he came on, looked a bit off the pace. Obviously, after being out for quite a while with what we know as COVID-related incident.
I would generally agree. Veltman really looked off it when he came on, and we're just going to hope that's a little bit of lack of match fitness. The only other thing was I thought Duffy looked maybe even a little bit tired, because but I think it's just that he's a slow player, and that's just him. And then even out of character for Dunk, but I think he misplaced one or two passes, which led to pressure on us, which probably would have cost a lot in fitness, in terms of Duffy having to run back or Webster having to run back. I thought Webster looked good when he started to go forward as well. That was the other thing.
Yeah, Webster's always decent when he goes on his little runs forward. There's plenty. I would say that there's plenty of options for him, but our attackers looked really lacklustre yesterday and didn't look to be running into the spaces that they normally would. Just going on to what you said about Duffy looking a bit slow, I think if you're up against Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin, and you're Shane Duffy, you're going to look slow. You're going to look maybe a little bit tired. There was one moment that I remember. I can't remember when it was. I think it was the second half, where Richarlison looked to break forwards. Duffy was quite far forwards, I think, from a corner, and he looked as if to say, "Oh, for fuck's sake, now I've got to run back."
Yeah.
And he was busting a gut to get back, but he's just not fast enough. But that's credit to Everton. You know, they were playing on the break. They hunted impacts. They dealt with us really well, and they caught us on many occasions. And there's a lot to learn from that game. And unfortunately, I don't think many positives to take, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, all round Everton were the much better team. I don't even think, you know, like I could make an argument that the ref was bad or anything. It was just that Everton were a much better team, shut down every possible attack we had, and completely dominated us. And it's always a shame to admit as a fan of Brighton when you get dominated, but we did, and there was no stopping that yesterday. And I think it was a good job that we got the first 2 wins that we did. Otherwise, fans would probably be on the backs of the players right now.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of negativity on Twitter after one game of us not doing overly well, and I have to question some of our fans and how they get on each other's backs. I don't get it. Like, what's the problem with one person saying their opinion and then just giving a constructive opinion back? What I see a lot of is someone gives their opinion and then they get told, "Oh, you're a this, you're a that. You don't believe in this, you don't believe in that. How dare you say this? How dare you say that?" You know, what do you feel is the problem there? Do you just think that's social media, or do you?
Do you know what? I want to be completely candid and honest and upfront about this, because it is an issue, and I think it's not only our fan base. I think it plagues every fan base across the country. Of the toxicity, and do you know what? I would go as far to say that I think that the majority of it is probably our younger fans, and I think it's that. And I'm happy to admit, when I was a younger fan of Brighton, and I was just first getting into Twitter, I potentially was a toxic fan. Do you know what I mean? And I understand now that I'm a bit older that actually, if I'm atting Aaron Connolly after he missed a sitter or something, what's that going to do? It's just going to knock his confidence, and it doesn't make me feel any better at the end of the day. We still lose the game that we lost, or whatever.
Exactly.
So I have to admit to you, I do feel it's the younger fans that are being allowed on Twitter. I think if you make it minimum 18 rated and harsher punishments like longer bans, etc., for certain words, or for certain racial undertones, then, you know, we'd start to see solutions. But I don't think Twitter are as hot on it as they say they are.
No, I don't think so. And my problem as well is other fans that not necessarily at the players and blame the players for everything. It's the fans that attack other fans and maybe say, because of your opinion, you don't support the club as much as I do, or because of your opinion, you shouldn't have a season ticket, or are you actually a fan of this club if you think that? Everyone's entitled to think what they like, but it's the way that some people put it across, as if to say, this is my opinion and my opinion is correct. And if you challenge it, if you go against anything I'm saying, then you're a this, you're a that. I don't want to swear on this. I don't want to repeat some of the things I've seen. But, you know, it's just like, why can't people just have a general conversation and agree to disagree sometimes?
Yeah, I think again it does come back to that younger mentality. I mean, I've had arguments over football when I've been younger, saying, you know, like, your opinion is invalid, is what I thought. But obviously now I'm older, me and you can have a bit of a debate on the podcast. We can have a bit of debate on Twitter direct messages, which we do from time to time. You know, I think it's just about, understanding and respecting each other's opinions and not making it personal. Like it's not a personal thing that someone slates Graham Potter's decision making. Yes, they might be acting a bit wildly, but don't go at them for it. He might have a point. We might see Graham Potter crumble now. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got to just respect each other's opinion a bit more, because I am seeing a lot of our fans sort of go down that rabbit hole of just toxic. And I don't want us to become like Arsenal is at the moment, because you see how toxic Arsenal is at the moment and how they're performing on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
clearly,
some sort of correlation.
It clearly plays a massive role, and if the players are getting dodgy vibes from the fans, then it's gonna, as you say, it's gonna correlate. It's gonna show. There was obviously, I just want to go on to another thing about things that our fans are saying. There was obviously a poll that came out, I think it was on Sky Sports, I'm not sure where it came from, about how happy fans are with owners and how well their club is run. Obviously ours was like 90%, I think, happy.
95 even, I think it was.
95, okay. But what I was seeing a lot on Twitter and even overhearing at the game is that people were thinking and believing that our club is poorly run. I struggle to comprehend why people might think that.
You know what? I saw a thing. What was it? £60 million loss that we reported, and I think that people think, oh, £60 million loss. That's it. That's the end of our club. £60 million loss based on a lot of seasons of good work. Do you know what I mean? I think this is the second season in a row we've run at a loss, but I think before that we were doing very, very well. Also, that 50 million sale of Ben White is bound to have a great effect this year. I think people see the lack of transfers and they see that as poor management of the club. I don't think it's a correlation between lack of transfers to poor management. I think lack of transfers can sometimes indicate good management, where people aren't overspending when they don't have to. I do think that that Brighton are in a good place at the moment, and Tony Bloom as an owner, fantastic. But he's even a great person. I went to Burnley away a couple of seasons ago, and we bumped into each other in the hotel, and he bought me a drink. Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of thing, that he's just a good person. He's a Brighton fan. It would be stupid to doubt him, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. He's always made the right decisions for the club for the long run. A lot of people have questioned a few decisions in the past, but everything's always paid off. So he's given you plenty of evidence to back him and to back every decision that he makes. Going on to, people saying that our club is run poorly in terms of transfers, Paul Barber has said window after window after window that if the move doesn't make sense for the club, we're not going to do it. And I absolutely agree with him. Why should we take risks and be conned out of more money for a certain player? Yes, I know fans want players in. Yes, I know what they want, some cheesy announcement video and for Twitter to go nuts because we've signed this incredible Galactico player. But it's never going to happen. With Brighton of Albion, we're going to make the signings that make sense for us. We're going to sign good people. We're going to sign players at our level, and that's it. I know Tony Bloom wants to get to a top 10 established team, but with the progress that we've made, with our academy, with the work that Graham Potter's doing, we will do that slowly, and we will do that the way that Tony Bloom wants to do that. So trust it.
Yeah, and I think an example of a recent transfer that's worked out really well was Jacob Moder, who I think is looking... I don't think he had a good game yesterday, but I think he's going to be one of our better players over the coming seasons. Joel Veltman, another quality... I know he wasn't good yesterday, but another quality player that we've brought in on the cheapest of cheap that I've ever seen for that level of player. Even Karbovnik, who we signed for a very small fee. I know he's out on loan with a view to a permanent move, but I think that he was part of the Moda deal. And not only that, we're probably going to go and sell him for a much larger fee than what we received for him. And he's hardly played any games for us, if at all, in the Premier League. So I think, yeah, our transfers are good. I think generally, I don't think we have a bad transfer window anymore.
No, yeah, obviously a lot of people question the Percy Tau move, but to be honest, in my completely honest opinion, he, from what I saw of him, he wasn't good enough at this level. Maybe didn't get as much time as he maybe needed to adjust to the physical levels of the Premier League, to the physical levels of English football in general. But yeah, if a player isn't in Graham Potter's plans, then why keep him? It's like Andone as well. He's gone out on loan. All of these decisions are made for the greater good of the club and to get people off our wage bill that simply we don't actually need anymore. So yeah, I think just sit back, just trust the club. It's worked thus far. We're in our 5th season in the Premier League. And the majority of the signings, probably 90% of the signings we've made, have been top quality in the Premier League. So yeah, I can't fault it, to be honest.
Do you know what? I would challenge any one of our fans to agree to, if you hear this, agree to come on the podcast and debate it with us, like sensible people. Don't shout at each other over Twitter. Just come on the podcast, have a nice little chat about it, because we've done this podcast for 2 episodes, but obviously we've done another one previously where there were debates on the podcast through opinions that me and Joe agreed were very silly. So just come on and debate it with us if you really do believe that. Obviously, I know that there's a lot of overreactions after a game, so I don't think that anyone's going to continue with that opinion that it's bad ownership. But I'd be really intrigued to see what they have to say. I really would.
Yeah, definitely, and as well, I think a lot of things get taken the wrong way on Twitter. You could be typing in a completely sarcastic manner. Somebody reads it as completely serious. So it's really hard. You've got 30% of your communication by text. You get 70% of your communication abilities taken away if you're doing it by text. So yeah, as Toby said, come on a podcast, have a good debate with us. We'll agree to disagree, and we'll move on like adults should. My overall verdict on the game, I didn't tweet much after the game, to be honest. I looked at Twitter once and thought, no, I'm not staying on that all night. I said verdict on today's game is that Everton were just far better than us. We didn't know how to break them down. We go again. It's simple as that. It's the 3rd game in. We've won the first 2 games. We're 7th in the league from the last time I looked. Obviously, league table, you don't really want to look at that at this stage. But it's a good start to the season. If someone gave me 6 points out of 9 at the start of the season, I would have ripped their hand off.
Yeah, I think I have to echo that as well. I'm not reading too much into it. The only thing that worries me was the lack of chance creation, which is something we didn't have an issue with last season. It's just we didn't have the finishing. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. But it really doesn't bother me that much at this stage. That game at all, really, or our position in the table, as you say.
Yeah, exactly. If we carry on doing this against teams of Everton's calibre, then yeah, maybe that will be cause for concern. But it's far too early to say. We've got 3 days left of the transfer window. Plenty of time to get a deal over the line. I know things have taken a long time with Cucurella, but I think he was reported as not in the Getafe squad for today's game against Barcelona. And various sources are saying that he's on his way to England to complete the move to Brighton. So fingers crossed, we get at least one in before the deadline. I think maybe another wing back would be decent, because I feel like that's our main outlet. Do you agree, Toby?
Yeah. I was really upset watching the game yesterday and no Solly March, no Tarek Lamptey, and that was the big difference, I think, between the game against Watford to the game against Everton. Is we had no pace on the wing. Yeah, it was definitely crying out for a Cucurella type player, or a Tarek Lamptey, who I hear might be back after the international break.
That would be absolutely lovely. We've seen plenty of pictures of him in light training, and yeah, I've heard he's only made good progress. He had maybe one little setback in pre-season, which has led him to being out for this period of time. But so yeah, hopefully we see him back. I feel like yesterday as well, just touching on fullbacks, that we really miss Solly March. What do you think?
Yeah, miss him completely. When he comes back, it's going to be if we have. Thing is, we have Solly March and Tarek Lamptey on either wing back position. Wow, the threat that we pose to any team in this league, it's just
And Cucurella, if that goes over the line.
oh wow, it's just unbelievable.
So
Just unbelievable.
we're in a weird period at the moment because we're one injury away from an absolute disaster, or we're three players away, two becoming fit and one signing for the club to be in a really strong position for our wing backs. Our midfield is unbelievable. Lallana and Basuma, I thought yesterday were head and shoulders above everyone else in our team. So yeah, we're in a really good way if things go our way. That's the sad thing with football, is sometimes things don't go your way. Players get injured, and you're in a really bad place. So we just have to hope that obviously Tarek comes back. Solly's injury isn't too bad. Cucurella comes in, and then suddenly we've got three quality fullbacks ready to bomb up the wings for us, and Jacob Moda, who can comfortably slot into that position as well.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, really happy days.
Should we
If
move
that
on
all
to
happens.
player ratings? Just because I'm just thinking that way we can talk about each player individually. Then.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll start off with Robert Sanchez, who we both praised at the start of the podcast. Toby just said, obviously, really solid, looking really strong. I've got him down as a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I put him as 8 out of 10, so quite similar. I think for me, it was just a shame that it was a penalty, which decreases his point by one because he's always got a small chance, and he went the right way. So I'm just decreasing the point by one on that one, and the Damari Gray goal again. I think it was really well taken. There was always the potential that he could save it though, and other than that, he was just so commanding in the box. It would have been the perfect performance had it have been a clean sheet, but yeah, unfortunately not this time. So 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think even Sanchez himself after the game said he felt like he could have done better on both. So he's even disappointed with himself, which hopefully he's not beating himself up too much about that. But yeah, really good performance. For the centre backs, I'm going to do those in the three, Toby, because I've actually got them down as the same rating because I feel like they weren't too far off of each other. I've got them all down as a 6.
Yeah, I've put Duffy 5, Dunk 6, and Webster 7.
Okay.
That's what I've done. I think again, I'm not sure if it's just the placebo effect of seeing pacey players against him, but Duffy just he really didn't look suited to this level this game, which is a shame because the last game and even at Burnley, I think he did quite well.
Yeah.
But it remains to be seen if that is fitness in question or if that is just because we were against pacey players. I mean, we're going to come across the likes of Liverpool with Salah, Mane, Firmino, Jota. So he's going to have this test all season if he's in the main plans. I'm really surprised that he is still part of Potter's plans, but we'll see as time goes on. It definitely wasn't the worst performance that he's put in recently.
Yeah, for Duffy, I've got down that he looked a threat from set pieces. Again, he looked really strong. Unlucky that some set pieces weren't expertly delivered. But I've also got that he looked actually weaker when we transformed into the back four than he did when we were in the three, which is quite surprising for Duffy because previously you would have said Duffy works better in a back four. But to be fair to him, from what we've seen this season, I feel like he's looked really comfortable in the middle of the back three with Duncan, Webster, sort of clearing everything up for him. So I don't know if that's maybe where it went wrong yesterday, because I thought he was pretty much okay until we changed to that back four system when Veltman came on.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'd have to agree. It's just the only problem for me is in that three back system, you're sort of required to be versatile in the way that you can sort of get forward. I know he was the centre of the three centre backs, but he just doesn't cut the mustard for me personally, and that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's nothing against his personality or anything like that. I love him as a Brighton player. I think he was fantastic in the Championship, but I think maybe he's just a bit too slow for our system.
Yeah.
Which is why it's the only reason that it surprises me that Potter still has him in his plans.
Yeah, for sure. It was surprising for me as well at the start of the season when I saw him in the lineup for a few pre-season games, and then obviously started against Burnley. You may be thinking, okay, have we got a centre back lined up? But then it was reported by various sources that we weren't looking to bring in another centre back. Obviously, we were looking at Nat Phillips from Liverpool, but then Potter's, he's pretty happy with what he's got back there. It doesn't worry me with Duffy. I feel like he can step up. He can have really good performances. The only thing that does worry me a little bit is his pace. But then if he's got Dunk and Webster helping him out, and as well if we get the two wing backs sorted out with Solly, Lamptey or Cucurella, if he comes in, then I feel like we've got enough pace to deal with the pacey players. But yeah, I really hope that Duffy does continue to have a good season. Done really well the first two games. And yeah, I really hope he it works out well for him, because he's gone through a torrid time at Celtic, torrid time in his personal life. I feel like he deserves a break, and I'm really glad Potter's given him that second chance, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I would say the same. That I'm glad that he's got a second chance because he is just such a good person, and I've met him a few times as well in person, and he's always been nice as well. Even when he's out clubbing, and as a player, you don't want someone to disturb you, especially then. But he still took the time to take a picture with me, and I think that was at the time that he was injured. Actually, so he had a cast around his leg a couple of years ago. So yeah, no, I love to see it for him as a person. I hope that as a Brighton fan, that his performances do keep to that good level, like you say.
Yeah.
But if we move on to the wing backs, then and I'm talking about the starting wing backs, which were Moda and Gross, or Gross, or however you want to say it.
However you want to say it.
Moda for me, not his best game in a Brighton shirt yesterday. I'd give him a 5 out of 10. And Gross, although he's another player that lacked pace against what was a pacey side, he did look like one of our more creative and dangerous players. So I'm going to give him a 7 for Gross and a 5 for Moda.
I've got Pascal Gross as a 4.6, mate. I think he was one of our worst players.
Oh,
come at me.
Oh,
I'm basing it off of his position, and all I've written down on my match report is he is not a wing back. He is not. I don't know why we keep playing him there. Put him in the midfield. Yes, I agree. He delivers the ball. He passes well. He's got a great cross on him. He gets people up the pitch, but he's not a wing back. Why do we keep playing him there?
Yeah, no, I do completely understand. I do understand what you mean. As a wing back, yeah, not the best player, but I think in terms of creating yesterday, I said how little we created. I think he was always at the centre of whatever we did create yesterday. And although as a wing back, he just doesn't belong there and he shouldn't be there, um, for me, he just was one of our more creative players yesterday, and he was perhaps our only chance that we had of getting forward yesterday. It was just a shame that it worked out the way it did. That we were just so pressed because if he could have got forward a bit more, I have no doubt he would have provided an assist because he always puts a good cross in. And yeah, it's just a shame, like
Yeah.
I say, that we were pinned back so much yesterday.
Yeah, it's that's not absolutely not my reflection on Gross as a player and for what he's done. Um, as I said, that's completely based on where he was playing, and he's, as I say, he's not a wing back. Um, I would just love to see him in his natural position where he can relax, he can get people moving, he can get the ball left and right. And the Pascal Gross of the 17-18 season, I want him back. Playing
Yeah,
behind a striker, playing in that hole, getting on everything, having some long shots, getting the crosses in from the left and the right. I just want to see him back, and I feel like he's really limited at fullback. Maybe I've made a really bad call on that one. Rating him 4.6, but I think that's just based on where he was playing and what Graham Potter has given him the job to do. Um, for Jacob Moder, I've got him rated at a 6.2. So pretty average, as you say. It wasn't his best performance. Um, I said it last podcast. I just can't wait to see him in his natural position in the middle, or maybe a little bit more forwards. He had a lot more reign in the Cardiff game, and we saw how creative he can be, how explosive he can be. So yeah, hopefully we get to see that if we get another fullback over the line.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I
yeah.
think moving on to the midfielders then, just because I don't want to get caught up on slating everyone because I feel like I could have slated Moda a bit more there, but no, I think again he's another one playing in his unnatural position.
Yeah.
So yeah, move on from that. But Lalana, Bissouma, and McAllister. I started with McAllister at a 5, Lalana at a
Uh-huh.
6, and Basuma at a 7. So another 5, 6, 7 for me there.
Okay, and that's not too far off what I'm thinking, to be fair. I've got McAllister as a 5.5, Lalana as a 6.5, and Basuma as a 7.5. And Basuma is my highest rating overall. I've got him down as my Albion man of the match. Basuma oozes class. He was heads and shoulders above every single player on that pitch in a blue and white shirt. I thought, along with Adam Lallana, I thought was really good. Had a few chances to burst forward. The thing with the midfielders is they were lacking players running off of them,
Yeah,
and taking on players, which is what I'll come on to Trossard in a little bit, but he could have done better with receiving the ball from the midfield and driving at the Everton back line, but so not too dissimilar there.
yeah. I
That
think I think McAllister,
yeah.
yeah, just didn't cut it for me yesterday. Um,
No.
it wasn't. I don't want to call it laziness, but it just felt like the whole team, not just him, but I'm saying it on him because I noticed it on him first. It just felt like the whole team didn't want to get to the ball as much as Everton did.
Yeah.
And McAllister, I thought, yeah, like I said, it was the first person I saw and the most that I remember of not shying away from challenges, but
Yeah.
not being close enough to make a challenge in the first place. When on a few balls, I thought actually you could probably get to that.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you said about Basuma. He is so good. We're so lucky to have him, and we'd be even luckier to keep him by the end of this window. Lalana, I think it was just a shame that, as you say, that he didn't really have much to play it to.
Mhm.
and we'll both get on to the forwards as well. But
Yeah,
Lallana did what he had to do, but couldn't
yeah,
do any more.
yeah, exactly. Just going on to what you were saying about, how Everton maybe wanted the ball more and got to the ball first, and I feel like it was a little bit like a performance towards the end of the season. If there's like a international competition coming up and players don't want to get injured, um, it felt like that. Like we were already safe. We didn't have anything to play for, and the players just weren't committing 100%. And yeah, just really off it, to be honest. That's what I kept saying to my mum who was sat next to me. I just kept saying, how are we so slow? Like, there's plenty of opportunity to burst forward with Basuma and Lallana, and players just aren't making the runs or aren't taking the player on when you can clearly see that that opportunity is on. There's plenty of space in behind. Why aren't we taking those opportunities? Um, which is what I've got for Trossard. I've got him as a 5.3 rating. I've said he's a little bit too weak on the ball. And to be honest, when he did take players on, he would beat them and then try and beat them again. I don't understand that. You've got the beating of the player, get into the box, push the ball across the Malpe, and you know he should finish it. So yeah, I just felt like it was just a bit lackluster.
Yeah, I have to agree with your assessment on Trossard. I've got him down as a 6. I've actually not gone into decimal places for anyone. I didn't actually think that far ahead, but I've got him down as a 6 out of 10. I thought that I would have given him a 5 if he wasn't trying stuff at the very least. There was one moment I think where he put like a nice chipped through ball in, which was the right idea, but no runners. And I think he had one or two shots that, if a player in a game like that is managing to find the space to get a shot off, they're always going to be deserving of my praise, I think, because I just hate the fact when you just sit there and see nothing. So I at least like the fact that he was trying something.
Yeah, I guess. Like I said, he was taking players on, but then trying to beat him again and then beat him again. That does show that he's trying to get through. He's trying to create things, but I just felt he was a little bit too weak for me. And Malpe, I've got him down as a 6, but only because he was a victim of the team not creating enough for him. I felt like he was getting into the positions and trying to force a few opportunities himself because he maybe felt like they weren't coming for him. There was one moment in the first half he shot it over the bar. So yeah, I just feel like he was a victim of the team not creating enough.
Yeah, six for me as well, and I'm not going to repeat everything that you just said because that's exactly what I thought as well.
There you go. And moving on to the substitutes, one really disappointing appearance for me, which we touched on at the start, maybe a lack of match fitness. Joel Veltman, Toby, I've got him as a 3.5.
Yeah.
Simply not good enough at left back. And yeah, just looked completely off it. Given that penalty away, no idea what he was doing there and
Yeah,
what he was trying to do.
one. Yeah.
So yeah, what have you got him down as?
Got him down as a 4. Won't repeat about the penalty, but even that he was giving away balls left, right, and centre, misplaced passes. Just wasn't it for me at all.
Yeah.
I think he's also not really a left back. I think he's more of a centre back to right back. I know he likes to think he can play across the defence, but I think that also showed yesterday that you shouldn't play left back, mate. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, and it's gone again. If we need any more proof that we need another fullback, that was it. I'm not sure if he was even ready to come back. Maybe he was named on the bench just because we didn't have enough defensive options. Yeah, I'm not sure what's gone on there. Was he a positive test for COVID, or did he just come into contact with someone for COVID?
Yeah, we're not sure on that one, I don't think, because it's not
No,
disclosed by the club.
no,
So we won't make assumptions on that one, I don't think.
no, definitely not.
But moving on
Um,
to Danny
yeah,
Welbeck, again, I thought he was a victim of a lack of service. I've gone for a 6 as well on Danny Welbeck.
I've got him down as a 5. I'm not sure I could have made enough judgment on him for the time he played. I've got down that he worked hard enough. Obviously, he was brought on to provide a little bit more bite up front. But, to be honest, in the second half, our bite up front got worse. We didn't create enough. I felt like we did okay in the first half in terms of creativity. But yeah, Welbeck was obviously brought on to provide a little bit more fight up there, but yeah, just wasn't happening. No service. What can you do if you're a striker with no service? You can't make it all for yourself. I know there was a couple of opportunities last season where Danny Welbeck scored them all for himself, notably the one against Leeds. So yeah, I just feel like it wasn't his game to shine. And Richards, I've got him down as a 6, Toby.
Yeah, 6 as well. Wasn't on the pitch long enough to do anything meaningful. Did what he had to do. I was a little bit disappointed he didn't take more risks because he could have been the difference. But we don't know. Yeah, it's your Premier League debut. What goes through your head on a Premier League debut? You can never know.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think a 6 because that's my baseline really.
Yeah, fair enough. I really feel like it could be his breakthrough season this year. If he carries on the way he's going, looking to get stronger every time. Obviously, if we get a couple of cup runs going, it'd be really good for him to get some game time, be in and around the first team in the training. I don't feel like he needs to go out on loan. Do you think he'll benefit from a loan or?
I'd like to see him on loan at a championship side. I don't think he's quite ready for us. And I know we're going to touch on transfers later, but every day it looks a little bit more likely that we could maybe get Daniel James in on loan. So if we were to get him on loan, I would like to see Richards at a championship side because I don't think he'd get game time with us.
No, I think Man United are definitely going to need cover for their veteran that they just bought in. For Richards, I would really like to see him stay. I'd really like to see him on the fringes of the team, maybe a couple of substitute appearances, even towards the end of the season. Say if we're safe with 5 games to go, to get a few starts maybe. So yeah, really excited for him, and I'm sure he's really excited as well. It looks like Potter trusts him. So yeah, if Potter trusts him, so do I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
transfer.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I was gonna say. Actually, I was gonna start with. We put out a tweet on the Albion Obsessed Twitter page. If we had any points that people wanted us to cover, let us know. And I'll just quote word for word here. These aren't my words. These are the words of @TomRDD, Tom Budgeon. Yesterday demonstrated how reliant we are on our wing backs, and when we use these central midfielders in that position, it just doesn't work. We need depth on those positions or we'll struggle, as both March and Lamptey, as good as they are injury prone. No more square pegs in circle holes. Heard that a lot on Twitter. What's your opinion on that then?
Yeah, he's completely spot on, mate. To be honest, as he says, square pegs in round holes. It's not working. It against the likes of Burnley and Watford, yes, it worked. But is that because Burnley and Watford are maybe a lesser opponent? I'm not sure. Obviously, yesterday was a little bit of a step up in the test. But yeah, going on to Lamptey, we're not sure if he's injury prone. Obviously, he's had a long injury, but I think injury prone means you've had multiple injuries over your career. I think it's maybe a little bit too early to say that Lamptey is injury prone. Hopefully, he comes back after this one and is flying and gets on a really good run of form. Before he got injured, Bayern Munich were looking at him. So many teams were looking to bring him in for like 40, 50 million. So yeah, I really hope that he comes back and is strong and has a really good season. March is injury prone. We know that he's had plenty of injuries over his Albion career, and again, it's proving that we need cover. Toby, we need cover in those positions.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, thank you first of all as well to Tom for writing your message in there. I'd echo your words exactly, and the words of at BHA10MK with a South African flag. I'm not sure if it's a South African fan or just a fan of Percy Tau, but thank you for writing in. Also said we need to sign Cucurella so we don't have the same problem of playing Gross and Moder at wing back. So it appears to be a theme between me, you, and every other Brighton fan that we do need to either make a signing or make sure that our players stay fit or make sure that we had the cover in the first place. And I think maybe even trust that a youngster in that position is better than playing Gross out of position, for example. Because you never know, we could discover the next Tarek Lamptey from one of our youngsters at right back. Do you know what I mean? I watch our under-23s games and we dominate every team on the pitch. So why not give trust to a few other youngsters there? I think even like Hayden Roberts or Stephen Alzate probably play better at right back than Gross would. But that's one thing that we'll probably see throughout the course of the season. Graham Potter tinkering with that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. As you say, it would be nice to trust some youngsters, but I think we're going to be without an under-23s team this year with how many players we're sending out on loan. I think Mark Leonard plays there, does he, or is he a midfielder? I think he plays on the wing.
A lot of our players are very versatile, to be honest.
Yeah,
so
I think that's what Graham Potter wants, is versatility. And some players, like, maybe a few of the Houghton players that are left aren't quite as versatile as Potter would like. The likes of Shane Duffy and Pascal Gross. As well as Pascal Gross tries, as we said earlier, he's not a wing back. As you say, get a youngster in there, see how they do. Plenty of fullbacks have been discovered that way. Tarek Lamptey, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James. The list goes on.
Wan-Bissaka as well.
Wan-Bissaka, yeah, exactly. Obviously, they've got another fullback that looks pretty decent. I can't remember his name, but he's looking not too bad. Plenty of players get discovered that way. So if Potter trusts in youth that much, then why not try someone in that position that's a little bit younger? Obviously, Kabolnik would have been great there. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I think it's Kabovnik. He plays really well there. We've seen a couple of his performances in pre-season. Saw his performance against Cardiff. Yeah, why not try him? But clearly, if he's going out on loan, Toby, surely that means Cucurella's coming in.
It's got to be. Let's move on to transfers as we say. Then it's got to be coming in out of the Getafe squad, as you said. It's got to be. So let's just wait and hope on that one. I don't think there's any negative signs about that one. I think most people are reporting that that's going to happen. Just about if we can get it over the line or not in time, which I think we will at a good price, and I think it'll be another bit of good business from the club. Moving on to a more speculative one, Daniel James looking like potentially a little loan, or maybe even a loan to a permanent transfer, which would be wow. That would be a good signing, I think, and I think even on loan this season, it would be a quality signing for us because he knows Graham Potter. Graham Potter knows him. Mm-hmm. He's going to play for Graham Potter. Graham Potter's the one that got him his move to United in the first place. He's gonna do his best. Would be fantastic. Also linked with Palace, so I don't want to compliment him too much because if he goes to Palace, then I'm going to be telling him he's a terrible player.
I mean, surely we've got the edge. If he's going anywhere, obviously he played today in their 1-0 win against Wolves. I'm not sure if you knew they won 1-0, Toby.
Yeah,
But I
finished
think
as we started the podcast, didn't it?
yeah. So obviously he played today, but I'm not sure if that's because there's a few players that aren't available. Obviously they've just signed Cristiano Ronaldo. If you didn't know that, where have you been? Have you been under a rock? Because it's been plastered everywhere on social media. So yeah, hopefully he becomes available. Obviously they've got Rashford to come back. They're not sure what they're doing with Jesse Lingard yet. Ronaldo to come in, so yeah, hopefully he's freed up, and surely we've got the edge, as you say. Potter knows him, he knows Potter. Yeah, make it happen. But to be honest, if I'm putting my realistic hat on, I don't think that move happens.
I don't either. No, I think
No.
likelihood is probably like a 20% chance that happens, maybe even less. One that I think has gone all the way down to 0% chance is Darwin Núñez, who started for Benfica, or at least was on the bench, was definitely involved for Benfica today, which suggests to me that transfer is not happening. The search for a striker goes on. Don't think we'll see one this window. I wouldn't get your hopes up, Brighton fans. But when the winter transfer window comes around, and the club may see more than ever that we really need a striker, it may happen then. So let's just hope that we can get a discounted striker in the winter.
And tell you what, Toby, all the time you're talking about a striker, I'm shaking my head. It's not happening. Not this window, not next window, and I don't even think the window after, to be honest. We seem to struggle there so much with getting a striker in. If Welbeck carries on and signs another contract extension, and we've got Malpay still, and we've probably still got Connolly on our books, and the likes of Jurgen Locadia and Florian Ndone when he comes back from loan. We just can't seem to shake the strikers we have. It's a position we really struggle in getting. This Darwin Núñez rumour has been doing my head in for the whole window. I think it started from the end of last season all the way through to now. Andy Naylor said all along it's not happening, I think. But as always, put on the end of a suite. But a lot can change. It's not happening, Toby. We're not signing a striker. I'm not getting my hopes up. If the club surprise us, great. But yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah, no, it's a shame, and I think we've exhausted the list already. I don't think we're linked with anyone else, are we?
Yeah, that's the transfer news, guys. It's about as good as a tumbleweed through a old Texan town, to be honest.
It's sad. Yeah. It's sad because I think I see Aston Villa signing Danny Ings for the price they got him. I think it was around 25 million. We were looking at Darwin Núñez for the same price, whereas we could have got a proven English goal scorer for exactly that price, and we just maybe we did make the inquiries and he turned us down. We don't know, but wow, it's just silly to not get a striker. I think at this stage, when we're looking at the best we've ever looked, creating more chances than we ever have before, all those expected goals that we still need to cash in on from last season, you would have thought we'd be crying out for a striker, and yet it's not going to come. No. I hope it's a show of faith to Maupay, and I hope he repays the faith. Because he could be a new like a new signing the way he started off this season.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, let's just hope, fingers crossed, and maybe there's even something in this contract that says we have to start him a certain number of games or something.
Possibly. I think people need to cast their minds back to when we signed Malpay and how bloody excited you were that he signed. I think we need to keep the faith in him. He's had a really good start to the season. Obviously, a little bit of a setback with a shoulder injury, maybe that had a factor in his performance yesterday. But as I said, he was still getting in good positions. I really think we need to just, pin our faith on Maupay. I really do believe that he could be a 15-goal a season striker. he's already got 2. If he carries on the form, fingers crossed we get a few more people that can provide for him. Then everything's looking rosy, and then we're going into next season saying no, we don't need a striker, we got Malpe. So things can change all the time. Hopefully he kicks on and doesn't go to Marseille or Everton, who he's been linked with. But I don't see that happening at all. Do you?
No, not this window. No, I don't think there's going to be any more important outs. I think there may be a last-minute surge for Yves Bissouma, but as soon as they come with 40 million and Tony Bloom says, no, 70 please, I think that'll be the end of it.
Yeah. If our third best centre-back is going for 50 million, then our best player in the whole squad is not going for 40. Like, come off it. They're screaming, oh, Wijnaldum replacement. Then, cough up the money, Liverpool. You've won the league, you've won the Champions League, you've got plenty of money in the bank. If you want him, be serious and give us what we value him at. I see so many journalists saying, oh, Brighton value Yves Bissouma at 40 million. Really?
Yeah, which Brighton fan's that?
not fan. I think
which
he's
staff
saying
member has told you that?
Yeah, exactly. It's mental. Like a fucking cleaner who doesn't watch football. I don't know. But yeah, hopefully we're seeing Yves Bissouma in a Brighton shirt after the window as well. I don't think he's going anywhere, Toby. He looks
He's
like
not.
he loves it.
No, he's not.
Did you see the video of him the other day giving those shirts to those kids?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, he's a class.
I thought that was
over,
epic.
isn't he?
Just absolutely amazing. Those kids were absolutely buzzing. And I cast my mind back to when I was that age and following football. If a footballer did that for me, I would be mind blown. It's just like that's what dreams are made of. As a kid, your favorite player giving you his own shirts. I think it was even outside of his flat, down in Brighton Marina, which is nuts. Props to him, and yeah, he loves it, Toby. He's not going anywhere. I keep saying that. I keep saying that to talk it into existence. That he's not going to go anywhere. So hopefully, my magic has worked. But...
I'd eat my shoe if he goes this window.
yeah, exactly. We don't want to be seeing this crop up in 2 years' time, and he's gone for 100 million to Real Madrid.
or he can join the PSG super team, because that's truly where he belongs. He's a quality player.
Top class. Deserves the very best in football. Deserves to be winning Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues, whatever top league he's in. He deserves to be winning it. Hats off to him, and maybe even one of the best we've ever seen in a Brighton shirt, Toby.
I think so. I get the same sort of Vicente feeling when I watch him play, and when he gets on the ball. I think I said it last week as well on the podcast. So yeah, no, I absolutely very, very happy with him. Hope he stays, and 2 more years in a Brighton shirt and he probably becomes a club legend. I don't think he would be a club legend if he left tomorrow. He'd be a flash in the pan, but 2 more seasons and he becomes a club legend. I'm sure he wants that. The way he acted after the Watford game, dancing on the pitch with the fans. Yeah, he's just an unreal character. A good positive vibe to have around the changing room. Really reminds me of that togetherness aspect of the club.
Sure.
He's definitely a shining light in even our darkest days. I think that he's going to be the one that's going to pull people together, pull the team together, try and get a result.
Yeah, definitely. Him, as we say, big characters that you need in the dressing room. Him, Lewis Dunk, Shane Duffy, Adam Lallana. There's plenty of big characters in there that can keep this team going in, as you say, the darkest of days. And hopefully there's not any dark days ahead. Hopefully we've got some really exciting times to come. Everybody, please keep the positivity going. Remember the result against Burnley and Watford. Remember the feeling afterwards. We can create chances. We can score goals. Yesterday was a blip. Yesterday was a really difficult test against a solid Everton team. You can't forget what players they had in their team. Allen, Decore, Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, Keane, Holgate, Pickford. They're all decent Premier League players. So, yeah. Let's go again. After the international break, we've got Brentford away coming up. Going to be a really tough game. Brentford looking pretty solid at the moment. So, yeah, another big test, Toby. What are you thinking for that one?
Brentford, it's a tough one because I feel like they're going to be the sort of side throughout this year that you see either win 2-0 or lose 2-0. I know both of their last two results don't reflect that, but I think that will eventually be their way of playing. That they're just going to throw the kitchen sink at it. I think that it'll be Brighton 2-0 win. Only because generally when we've come across teams, it's like, oh, they've got that one player that will do that. In this case, Ivan Toney. I think that we will be able to nullify Toney with three of our centre backs. And I think that we'll end up just having a dominant performance the same way we did over Watford, the same way Everton did over us. That's just the way I see it going. Apologies if I am wrong.
Yeah, I really hope you're right, Toby. I think it's going to be a really difficult test up in their new stadium. I hope everyone that's going, I really hope you have a great time at the new stadium. I know people are a bit gutted that Griffin Park's gone. I went to Griffin Park once and it was a fantastic away day. So yeah, I really hope that people enjoy the Brentford Community Stadium first of all. I think it's going to be a little bit tighter. I think we'll come out 2-1 winners. Hopefully we see Cucurella in a Brighton shirt for the first time. So yeah, really hopeful. Get this form going again. We've got a few games coming up that we could really look to be getting some points from. Obviously Palace at the end of September as well. So yeah, really exciting times, Toby. We move on. We forget the Everton game, and we go again.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I thought there was something else there. Yeah, no, absolutely. We do go again. This doesn't stop because of one bad result. Keep the faith, please. Be positive to each other on Twitter. Be the positive change as well. Call out negativity. Like, just say, let's talk like adults here. And you raise a good point. Here's my point in reply to that. And don't put each other down, and don't put the players down. And let's have a great season. Just party all season with each other.
Absolutely. And if, as we keep saying, if you've got anything to send us, any fan stories, any videos that you want featured, obviously we posted a guy's vlog this morning. We're always happy to post those sorts of things. We'll always give you credit for it. This is a podcast for the fans to get your opinion out there, to have discussions, have debates. Really excited for the rest of the season. And yeah, up the Albion. Toby, take care, mate, and we'll talk soon. Hopefully after the transfer window. Maybe we'll do a little episode after the transfer window to sum it up, if there is anything to sum up. And yeah, I'll see you next time, bud.
Yeah, you too, mate. Yeah, you take care.
Bye-bye.